So I absolutely love checking out my local video game stores because I never know what I might find. And that's always the case at Regen. This is in Maryland, so if you're ever in the Towson area, you have to check it out because I scored some amazing items. Let's go ahead and check this out. So this store has some cool handheld stuff. This right here is the Nintendo 3DS XL. Of course, we have this green color with Yoshi. Definitely an awesome one to add into a collection. Just so cool, you know, seeing this. It kind of has like this two-tone aspect. I'd love to have so many different, you know, limited edition ones if I could, but this one is definitely an awesome one. If you're looking for this, they have it. So who remembers the game Genie? This was definitely a fun time back in the day because we were not perfect with our games and we didn't really know what we were doing half the time. But this is the, you know, ultimate video game enhancer. Just a throwback, seeing this like box art and everything with this. Remember having quite a few of these gold things and just so awesome. So we all know that I'm going for that Nintendo set, trying to get every single Nintendo game, you know, and I'm trying to do this all mostly locally or in person. And that has always been something a little challenging because this game right here, I had never even seen. I've never even heard of it. This is Terra Cresta for the Nintendo Entertainment System. This was a decently priced game. Now it's not super cheap and it's not super pricey, but this was kind of like right in the middle. But this is pretty much a shoot 'em up. It is a little bit repetitive, but definitely challenging. I would say that this is a pretty challenging vertical shooter. So you do have these cool like power-ups. These additions are definitely neat, but rather bland when you kind of like look at the overall picture compared to some of the other shoot 'em ups. But this is one that I am pleasantly surprised just because I didn't even know that it existed, and they had this one in stock. They got this one and a few other games that I just don't really see too often. So I absolutely love that when I go to stores like this. Now this game, I see this everywhere, and I don't even know one person who would really enjoy playing this. This is Wall Street Kid. It says use it or lose it. You have this whole like crazy cover art here. You were in charge of like the stock market. So this is a very interesting game that I don't really think a lot of people would really enjoy, especially back in the day. If you were a kid with this game, I definitely felt bad for you. Unless you are a millionaire and you did very well on the stock market thanks to this game. But this is pretty much those high risks, big rewards. So it's a point and click. You get to read the paper for tips about the stock market. You know, this whole like stock market life simulation game. Definitely very interesting for those who may want it. But I feel like this is not what I would think. You know, Wall Street Kid, kid in the title. Most of the time, kids are getting these video games back then. And I feel like you either got this Wall Street Kid or you got like Mario and learning the ABCs and shapes and numbers and stuff. So I feel like there's really like no in between. But this one, I just don't really see how kids would have enjoyed this back in the day. So they always have a variety of these Nintendo Powers each time that I come in. And I just love seeing these classic ones like Donkey Kong. And then they have so many different strategy guides, like all these different guidebooks. This one, of course, for the Nintendo 64, we have Turok Dinosaur Hunter, the official game secrets. And I just love the artwork, the throwback on a lot of these. This one is for WWF Warzone, of course, with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Just a really cool little book. And then this fun one for Smuggler's Run 2, Hostile Territory. This was definitely a fun time playing this game. I kind of stumbled upon it back in the day. And then even this one for Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time, the official strategy guide. Just so many classics here, and it's a throwback each time that I walk into the store. So I absolutely love that this store has so much when it, comes to these Japanese imports. Not only do they have video games, but they have really cool like figures and different things like that. It's always neat to see the crazy variety of this like crazy stuff that the store has. And I just love seeing, how everything is beautifully organized, everything's in order, everything kind of has this cool vibe to it. And I feel like you don't see many stores just like this. This is Arch Rivals. Pretty much this is, like NBA Jam before NBA Jam. It says based on the arcade smash. Definitely a classic, a fun arcade game. I feel like these like arcadey games are always a great time, but this one's just a lot of fun. So you have like this goofy like arcade characters, and I feel like it's definitely a lot of fun. Tons going on. Definitely cool with the cutscenes, these unique characters, and just really a great time. Anytime that you have these like basketball games, this even says Arch Rivals, a basket brawl. So definitely a fun one, and one that you guys should definitely not overlook. So I'm curious, has anyone actually played this back in the day? Which arcade games around this time were your favorite? And which of those arcade games that are sports titles are your favorites and must-haves in your collection? Now this one, I feel like they tried to do so much with this game. This is Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. So of course this is modeled after the film, and I feel like they had so much going on because they were trying to like mimic the film. So it does follow that very specifically. And a lot of people said that if it was more fluid or something that wasn't so like strict in this whole linear path, that this game would have been a lot more fun. So it's really cool because there is like so much going on in this particular game. If you especially saw the movie, you have this melee mode, you have this duel, you have horseback riding in this, these like RPG elements. There's really just so much going on, and I felt like they really tried with this game. A lot of times when you have like these movie crossovers, they're very like cheap budgets and they just really miss on par. Like they just don't do what they're supposed to do. So I feel like this one could have been a little bit better just because everything that was going on, it was just so much. But I feel like they definitely could have did something a little bit better with this particular game. But I can at least appreciate that they tried. So remember the days at the grocery store? How cool would it have been to get these? These are these like Gachapon. They have tokens. These are like those like little mystery figures. So in these you can get these different like Pokemon ones. Definitely really cool to see. And I feel like I would have loved these back in the day instead of all those like dumb little knickknacks, whether it is, like a ring or those sticky hands or just all that dumb stuff that we used to spend money on. I would have much rather have one of these. So I'm definitely curious what you see throughout this video. Is there anything that you would love to have in your collection? Whether it's handhelds, it's some of the cool store displays, some of these like other peripherals for video games, and just all of these cool extras. I feel like they always have so much at this location that I actually want, and I've gotten so much cool stuff over the years from this store. So it's always neat to see just everything that they get in. They share it on their socials, and it's just a fun time. Just finding even more than what I expected. So this right here is Talking Super Jeopardy, and it has a really cool element in it. So you do have actual like talking, like this whole voice in here, and I feel like it's pretty bad, but it is very creative to add that back in the day in some of these games. But this is also a 4-player game, so that's definitely neat to note. And I feel like these game show games are always a lot of fun. Now they are probably super outdated, a little bit more challenging to play in today's time, especially if you didn't grow up with some of these. But I'm curious to know how many families bought these games back in the day. And do you remember playing some of these, like any of the Jeopardy games back then with your families, your friends? And did you actually enjoy them, or did you like following along on TV? Just kind of curious like how these were back in the day. I could see some of the fun times with your family playing these games, but I just feel like I would not really want to play these, nowadays. So I'm definitely pumped because I added some more Nintendo Entertainment System games into the set. And definitely seeing this one, this Terra Cresta game, just a super uncommon one that I don't really see too often. And then finding all of these in really great shape. A lot of times I find these like labels destroyed, especially on some of these like arcadey style games. Just people, you know, destroying these and not really keeping them in great shape. But I love this store because they do like test and clean everything. Always looks great. They're always, you know, having all this cool stuff, and it seems like they always get cool things in. So I'm definitely curious, out of the bunch here, which one is your favorite? Have you played any of these games, and what are the memories that you have with them? Definitely can't wait to see what I find next time and see other cool items that I stumble into, because they have more than just games, and that's always a blast when I go to these different game stores. So if you're ever in Towson, you have to check out Regen because they have such an awesome store. So of course, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Go ahead and check out all of my other videos and stay tuned for more.